Once upon a time, I had a daddy and a mama. I was a princess, and I lived in a castle, and they were the king and queen. I had everything that I could ever want. And I had a crown. And then my mama and dad, and I was about 8 years old or so. We don't talk about it. Daddy didn't like being all lonesome, so he went ahead and married this woman who was definitely not my mom. And my stepmother didn't like me. The only problem was she was ugly and she hated me, and she had 3 daughters and they were ugly and they hated me too. And so I was sad, and then I hated her. And I had to live downstairs in the cellars by the fire, and all my dad's love, I was the apple of his eye. And they were really mean to me. My poor little governess. She knew everything that I was going through. You kids these days think you have it hard. It wasn't my fault that there were no good books to read in the castle. And that's all I had to eat for about a year. And all I could do was reaching up to grab onto the lid. I was famished by her fingers. But then I talked to the mice, and I sang to them, but the governess had a secret. That little calf comes trotting right in the kitchen. And I sang to the brooms, and I sang in trees. Oh yeah, she had 6 lumps and stuff, and they had no idea how that was happening. And it was supposed to be great. And I sang at the well, and then while my father was like running around trying to make them happy, I buried him down by the peach tree over there, running around in the latest fashions and showing them off to me. And then when they went to the ball, I couldn't go. So I'm bawling my eyes out at the peach tree. I bippity and I boppity. It gets late, still crying, and then suddenly I see this light. My fairy godmother, and she was there. You may think that this may be magic. Magic. And she helped me out. Magic. Was ahead, and he said, bippity boppity boo. You freed me from my prison with your tears, so what do you want? But I want to be better than them, cuter than them, and then I was in a pretty dress, and it had lace, and it had satin, and like my hair's all done up. Now I say, I don't know what that calf was thinking. And I had glass slippers. They weren't really made for dancing. Well, how am I supposed to get around in them? And I went to the ball in a carriage that was a solid gold carriage. I'm a little bit late, you see, and so I kind of edge in around back, and I'm sitting on the other side, and then I see my sisters at the ball, and they're just falling all over themselves over this prince. And he seems like he's so into the sermons, but as soon as he sees me, he said I was really pretty, and I thought he was really cute. And we're eyeing each other from across the pews over there. He was quite dazzling in his obvious awe of me. And then the clock struck midnight. And I don't know if that cat can cook well or not, so I go ahead and skedaddle on home. And I had to go. I wasn't about to marry this guy on the first date. So I go ahead and take off my shoes, and I'm running with him. My shoes there, I forgot my shoes. What I didn't know is that he had 2 pages following me. I can't go any faster than I already am. I did the only thing I could think of. Threw my shoe at him. But of course I dropped one and he picks it up. I missed. The next day, he found my shoes for me. My prince was not going to eat, sleep, or do any of the sort. And he says that he's going to be marrying the lovely lady that lost that shoe the other day. Kind of creepy, still romantic. And the shoes were mine, and so he was gonna marry me. And then when I put my shoe on, not without letting my sisters try them on first, my stepmother goes crazy and cuts off her toes and cuts off her heels, all so she can fit in that shoe. And then it fit me like a satin glove, I do say. He proposes to me, says I can have everything I want. We marry under the church of God. And he kissed me, and we lived happily. Did we live happily ever after?